Hello, everyone. Welcome to my talk. Thanks, ETHDenver, for having me here. I'm Rodrigo, staff engineer at Webacy, and today we are going to talk about behavior analysis based for security for the next billion on user chains. So, first, let me introduce you how a token can be launched. The first 60 seconds. So, at t plus 0, the token is deployed. T plus 3, you get in the 5 wallets buying in the same block after the token has been launched. 8 seconds later, 12 more come and buy it. The ones that were before are bundlers. The next ones, as you will see here, will be like snipers. And now the developer wallet will get the mints to his wallets. Now, after 30 seconds, social media link is posted. So 50 retail see this link posted, pumps gets up, everyone's buying the token, so they see opportunity. So after they see it, the liquidity gets pulled. So 50K, it's gone. So here you can see a draft of how a token might be working, like where it gets deployed, all the pump is coming, and when the retail enter, everything gets dumped. So 89 wallets have been affected by the time the user checks and it was over. So everything, you will see this after and it's reactive response. So the problem here is how to compete against reactive or a predictive market. So normally you see this type of attacks, if everything is reactive, like a user posts like, okay, I have been rag pulled, or after that the hacker gets on a blacklist, so you see the same hacker on a known exploitable website. So everything that is reactive and is after the incident happens. So our approach is detect this before it happens in less than 60 seconds of all the things happen, so the retail doesn't come to enter in this. So if there is an average rag pull every 2 minutes, more than 10,000 tokens deploy every day on Solana, and as you see here, the first user report will be after 30 minutes. So instead of seeing the report, why don't we look at the evidence before anything happens? So I will tell you a little bit how we work with 6 signals. This is not everything we do, but just to give you an idea. So we build a confidence score. This confidence score is built by a lot of signals. Let's start about timing. As you saw, the first 2 things that happen at T3 at T8 is who has been buying. Is it the same person, where the fund's climbing, then the coordination. Are these the same people that are buying, or are there like random people? Then rotation. How long have been the person holding this the tokens after they have bought it or written it? Then institutional filters. What do we mean about this? Like the idea is always you will have like false positives, and wallets will work as we detect, but sometimes you have to filter them because it's normal behavior for them. We'll talk about later. Then we analyze the deployer. Is this a known hacker, a known person that have done already a rag pull? And then where the money is coming, the fund flow. This one is very funny. So you can see where and who is moving the money. So with all this, each one of these signals are per se nothing they will tell you about, but if you put them all together, they will give you a probability very good if you are going to get it racked. So as I mentioned, each signal alone is suggestive, but combined they are predictive. So timing analysis. So from what we have seen on the dashboard, you can see like there, like the confirmed rag pulls is like in the first 10 seconds, they get bought. Like if at the launch after the launchpad, before 10 seconds, the user gets bought, 72% chance of being a rag, and it gets lower after the time goes by. And for legitimate tokens, as you see, it's the opposite totally. So you can see how behavioral is pretty predictive in these kinds. So as you see, we analyze more than 1,200 tokens, and almost 80% of them with more than 5 buys on the 10 seconds, there are rug pull. So that's first signal. Signal number 2, coordination patterns. So the idea here is, are all of these wallets that buying the same person? So here is where we see like, okay, where the fund flow goes. So who funded this wallet? So you can see here, wallet A to E, they all get funded by the same wallet, and all of them at the same block, they buy to the token mint. So basically, this is not like, oh, random thing. This is coordinated attack. So here you can see like this is a behavior. Maybe it's a bot automated that doesn't have to be with the rug pull, but it's a good signal. If you combine all of them, you can see like 90% of rugs that all the more than 3 wallets buy in the same block and funded by the same wallet, they are always rug pulls. So normally they use more than 8 wallets. So because they're trying to be dust wallets, so you don't see like, oh, too many wallets have small amount of money, but actually it's the same person that has a lot of the percentage holding. As I mentioned, 5 wallets, same founder, same block, 1 attacker. Signal 3, deployer profiling. So as we analyze all the blockchain and a lot of things that happen, we already know hackers that have been working in other chains or where the money are they moving. So normally for this type of rug pulls, a behavior that we normally see is like they are like serial deployers, we call them, because they deploy as much as token as they can, and then you can see like if they deploy more than 10 tokens at the same like range, you are trying to get someone scam. Like this is basically your pattern. So math talks for itself. So here you can see it. An average deployer deploys 14 tokens in 24 hours. So normal legitimate projects don't deploy more than 2 tokens. Maybe one's for governance, the other one for tokenomics. So that's more than normal behavior for any of the projects. Then, fanful tracing, as I mentioned before. Where the money is coming from? Like this is like following the gold coins. Okay, so we, as I mentioned, we know a lot of bad actors that we already label, like OFAC sanction, no hackers, non-drainers, like previous rug pulls. So we already know them. So the question is now, what are they doing? Where are they moving the funds? Because sometimes you have to do a ramp off of the funds or you want to use them. So you may send it to a mixer. Yeah, normally you use it, so we cannot trace it. But normally mixers can give you some hints on where the money is going. Like it's not totally like obfuscated, let's say. So after that, after the mixer, it gets claimed by a wallet that is a fresh wallet. So if it's a fresh wallet deploying a fresh contract, it can give you a little bit of hacker or sketchy vibes, let's say. And then they start doing the deployment. As I mentioned before, more than 12 tokens, and they see like, okay, all my analysis was right. So the prediction was correct. And normally, all of these rug pulls come from unfunded wallets that get the first transaction from a mixer or anything that you don't need to do a KYC, basically because they don't want to know who they are. So you can like start predicting where the mixer is sending the money and what they're doing, and you can behave and see, okay, this will be a no-hack. Signal 5 and 6, let's say. Okay, so I mentioned retention. So normal projects doesn't do rug pull. So if they hold the top 10 holders, have all the 50 buyers at launch, have let's say at the first time of the launch 45% of the holdings, and after 10 minutes, or as we mentioned, 2 to 3 minutes, they drop it to 12%, it's a rug. But normal projects, they hold the tokens because they know that it's a project, they want to distribute the tokens to a tokenomics on their, like they're more or less shipped. So if we start seeing higher drops of retention of the holdings, you can start seeing signals that is they are trying to do a pump and dump. So I also mentioned noise removal. So some of the behaviors and patterns I already mentioned, they are normal behaviors for some of known institutional things. For example, launch pools like Pump and Fun, they do launch a lot of tokens through a same wallet, but this is normal because we label them. So they are not trying to do rag and pulse. Rag pulse. So the idea is to check all the sex wallets. For example, they send it to do transactional wallets, so they send to in the same block. So you can start like, okay, this is a known breach, and you can like remove them from this analysis. So now, what you can build with the API that we work, for example. So with all the risk that you do, for example, if you are building a block scanner, like EtherScan, for each one of the tokens, you can see a transaction simulation, give a transaction risk, a token risk, they call the deployer risk, and everything. So you can show the users before analyzing which token to buy, or analyzing all the tokens they have in the wallet. Then another thing that is cool that we built with all this information is the deeper risk. So you can see beforehand if a token will be depegged. So the idea is like all these stablecoins we can predict in the market, like, okay, don't buy this coin because it's going, or don't use it that much because it's gonna be depegged and you will lose value in the money. Then, as Revoke Cash, Mintlify, they use it, and you can see like this is real time, less than 200 milliseconds, and before the user uses, the idea is to prevent them to get hacked or racked and sign any weird thing. So, what do we suggest? So here is more complicated, but yeah. For your users, if you're building an API, an app, or anything for a retail, please analyze whatever token you're launching, trying to see like, okay, I'm building a DEX. If I am listing a token, let's analyze all of these patterns before listening. If you want to have a DEX that doesn't get people racked, let's say. But if you are a normal buyer, please check these 5, 6 signals so you don't get racked. And here you can see our partners. And my question was, knowing all of this, I have given you, what are you going to build with it? So thank you very much. I'm Rodrigo. That's my information. Any questions?